Well, yesterday coming back up to the village I found a small dead squirrel on the road, roadkill again, red squirrel, and that's very unusual of course. Around here that's all we have. We don't have the grey squirrels over here, which is much nicer, and I thought it'd be rather nice to try and set it up with this mount. I'm not quite sure how yet, but I want to set it up on this area here looking at us. Interesting thing to do, to have the three together, make a nice mount. Anyway, we'll get the animal done and then we'll try and see how it fits into that. So I thought you'd like to share that being, if you're interested in taxidermy, I thought we'd like to share that being done this morning. We've done the grey squirrel before, but I haven't shown you a red. Right, as usual, let's look at the tools again. We're going to need some wire, some thinner wire to go up the tail, and some more heavy duty wire for the arms and legs. Pliers, scissors, fiberglass wool, borax, needle and thread to sew it up, some wool, tweezers, scalpel, the eyes. In this case at the moment they've put the pupil in. I want to make them completely black. I'm going to put some black paint behind shortly. Styrene foam to build both the head and the body. That should be about all we need for this one. Now I'm going to shape the styrene once I've got the skin off, just to double check all the exact shapes of the things. What I do at the moment is go and just darken this squirrel's eyes, paint them black, so they can dry while I'm doing the skinning. Right, these eyes are now painted black, and I've got to go and start shaping up the foam soon, but I'll leave that a little bit until I've got the skinning done. Let's make a start on that next. Now everybody has their own way of doing things. Other taxidermists often get other tips and bits and bobs, which are quite interesting to hear. I've got my simple traditional way that I was taught, and it saves a lot of time, effort and money. You can, rather than buy expensive glass eyes, use teddy bear eyes. Just get a second-hand teddy bear from a second-hand shop or a charity shop. Take the glass eyes out of that. They don't need to be very big, as I say. This one's been quite badly damaged, but you can see the eye's been almost pushed out. There's the size of the eye there, look. Well, try and keep him clean. I've already given him a wipe off of any flies, eggs and everything else before I put him in the fridge last night. Or her, in fact, it's a she, this one. And the skull's been crushed, so I've got to go quite carefully when I take all this apart. And it's not in perfect condition, but it'll be alright. It all dries out, it'll be alright. Obviously it's been a little bit of juice or gunge around here, and the flies like that, and they've gone straight for this area. I want to remove any of that now and lay it on its back. Now some people like to go from the back of the animal rather than the front to sew it up. As the front doesn't seem so much, I tend to see the mess I've got around here. I want to keep that really clean in the future. So I want to keep this blood out and wipe it out. When I get the skin done, I'm going to completely clean it up. Some people skin from the back so that there's no seam showing at all. I'm going to skin from the front here. And we'll start just below the chin here at the neck, just on the breastbone here. Slice gently. We don't want to go into the flesh, just want to open up the skin. Just nick it and then keep it clean. We don't want blood anywhere if we can help it. We've already got it with the animal having been hit by a car. Work your way down and peel apart, and as soon as you can start this process of getting the borax in. A tough little skin, this one, which is good. It makes it a lot easier if the skin is really tougher on an animal because it doesn't tear as easily. Nice and dry. Peel it back, and as soon as you can get some borax going in there. Like you're right down to the venter. So I want to get this off as quickly as I can to get it cleaned up. My friends earlier on said he just started to watch this film, having his breakfast, and I think he avoided a part of it then. It's not something you do when you're having breakfast, no. But, it's no worse than children being taught the anatomy of a frog in a classroom, or you're doing a chicken for your dinner. I quite appreciate that if you are vegetarian or vegan, you certainly wouldn't want to watch something like this. It's not a pleasant thing. I don't normally do animals. I like doing birds, and I don't mind doing fish because they're more artistic in the creation of the work that they require. More borax all the time, right into here. Make sure you work it into the skin. Because of the injury that's been done, it's a little bit more difficult. But the borax will help to clean things up, so don't spare it. There's plenty. Quite simple to do. Borax, then in America, 3 mules washing soda, same stuff. Don't need anything else. We don't need to be using any other chemical than this for this particular job. For both fish, animals and birds, it's fine. Bring that leg right through. Peel that leg back. It's a shame to waste this beautiful little creature. It would have continued just being mashed on the road, which is a hell of a shame. So I picked it up quick, whipped into the car, and here we are now, peeling away the skin. Right round the back here, you can see, a bit gory, but once this part's done, the hardest part in fact is setting it up to make it look natural, which is the same with all taxidermy. In fact, that's where the real skill comes in. This part is pretty straightforward. Squirrel's a good thing for beginners in taxidermy to do because the skin is fairly tough. You can see here how it's just peeling away from the leg, look. We have to go as far down as we can get, right down to the toes. You don't need the scalpel particularly, a lot of the time. We need to stuff this out before we put the wire through in a minute as well. Also, we're going to need a knitting needle as well. I didn't mention that. Knitting needle, very important to be able to push the fiberglass wool down into here. And again, you come to the end and, like the birds, just snip off the bone there and make sure you've got plenty of borax pushed into there, right round, before you pull that foot back out again. And there we go. I've got to do the same with all of the legs, and I've got to get round the body as well. It's not a job that I find pleasant at all. I don't say I enjoy it that much. The pleasure is once the skin is off and setting it up. That come away there, so I'm going to use my scalpel just to cut away there a little bit from the tendons. We've got right round the back, and I'm coming down now to the tail, which some people find a problem. Let's hope I don't this time. And we've got to try and get that tail to come out. Again, the same thing. Work your way down, using your fingernails. If you want to know how to do an animal. And it's only like the birds. The other day I went with the smaller one down to the robin from having done a woodpecker. But I've got geese, I've got all sorts out there, and they're all done the same way. We can do a fox in the same way as this, a matter of building the body, and the armature is different because it's bigger. There we go. And out comes the tail, look, all in one go. When it does come. So we need to get borax well into there. We're going to skin it right back using the scalpel around his cheeks and everywhere, because we're going to make not going to use the skull as we have with the birds. We're going to make an artificial head. Very, very simply. The larger animal, traditionally you would clean the skull, boil the skull, and build it up with wax and or filler. It's taken me about half an hour so far, working constantly. You want to do this all in one go if possible. It is possible to get into a mess. And again we fill with clean borax, push his paw back through again. I've got to get right round his head, skin up under his chin here. So the actual rest of it, look, all the fur is out there now. All the body's out here. It's just this last delicate part of skinning his head. Keep that borax going all the time, plenty. You can't have enough borax. No matter how much you have around the place. I'm going to have to go carefully here. Now this is where I've got to be careful. I don't want to wreck what there is of the skin around here. Use the knife just to prise the skin away rather than cut. Right down. And that's it. mess done. No meat, but plenty of borax in there now to try that mask out. But it's a mess because of all the juice, so let's get that borax onto there, rub it well in. Some people would wash the skin now, but I think we should be able with this borax to clean this mask off, bring in more fresh. And it's the same now on the inside, make sure there's no flesh. The body has to be the same shape as this one, as does the head. So there's our mucky borax. I want the head to be separate to the body so I can bend it into shape. And the body itself, again, whether we're going to want the body bent or back or but I can adjust that to a degree as I go along. Right, there's our basic shape for the body, and I put the wire in between now, pushed it into both ends, and I need to just bind this up and build this up a bit. And we've got to build up the stuffing of the legs and arms here as well. So that's the next stage. Right, need to do the neck, need to bind around that neck before I start stuffing into the squirrel. Let's just get this basically completed. This area here is going to be padded from within anyway. Just a basic body. You can see that from there. So the nose and back, they come. So we need to just cut out an area for those to slot into there. We don't want them poking out. Make sure they're in the right place as near as I can get it. Yep, that's fine. I've got to do exactly the same the other side, of course. I'm going to push those eyes into there. And there we are, they're opposite each other. And next we need to get the knitting needle. The animal now needs these legs really stuffing out quite well because they've got to be quite firm. So we've got to put small amounts in at first so the arm is not twisted. And push those right down to the bottom. Use either end of the needle. Get them really well stuffed out, because when I push the wire through, you can have all sorts of movement. We want to build up this muscle structure. The beauty of this fiberglass wool is that we can actually mould it into shape. The pointed end first of all to push the stuff in, get it right down to the end, and then pack in really tightly to build up all of this shoulder. And that's both the front arms done. And the back legs. You can see I've got one of the back legs done. I've got to push down right into the very heel of the animal to get this done. Right, plenty of padding in here now then, you can see. Got the back legs and front legs really well padded out. And the next thing is to try and get the wire right through them and the tail. It takes a bit of doing. And to start the tail, probably easier in fact from this end. So I've actually doubled the length of that wire because I've not only got to go through the tail, I've got to come up through the plastic as well. So here we go. Now I could do with pushing just a little bit of wool down into here, I think, as well, into the tail cavity. So the stuff always wants to come out, so you've got to be, there we go, just to firm up this end of the tail a little bit, right down through there, and out it comes. Don't want it with the fluff finish, don't want it coming out too soon. Just go right down to the end of the tail and out. There we are. Once that tail dries, it will dry in place. So that's that one ready to go. Now the more difficult ones. We've got 4 of these to do. See if they're long enough. Back legs, yeah, they're long enough. Only just though. And let's go down, make sure we've got a nice sharp end to that. Let's go down through this way if I can, through the padding. We could have come out to the bottom of the foot, so I could have gone into the bottom of the foot, but I'm going to try and come out to the bottom of the foot this time, go the other way round. I have to adjust my techniques at times. There we go, and out there, that's perfect. Front legs, are they long enough? Right, so I've got some slightly longer wires for the front legs because I was forgetting how much has to go into the plastic as well. Get him inside his head and put these wires through the body. Push them right in. My arthritis gets me. There we go. Same the other side. And bend that over and back again the same way. Right back onto itself and push that in. There we are. Now we've got the back legs to do, and they're going to come here. Exactly the same way and up and through by pulling it from the other side. There we go. Now the final one, and there he is. Now we've got to sew him up, get the padding right first. Put that out of the way and bring it back where you can see it. There he is. And it's just before we sew him up, we've got to get all the padding in the right places. So I've got it in the legs. Got to get these legs right round here now. Looking about right to me. Yeah, the padding's about right, so that's okay. I think the neck's about right. Yeah, that's okay. So that's it. Let's sew it up and see what we've got. Right, I'm going to use this specimen Dacron for fishing on this one. It's an ideal, it's a strong cord. And as usual, work my way from the neck down to here we are with the neck. Pull it round here. And if I go in from the inside first, I've got a knot on the end of my line. So some people like to go from the other side of the animal because it doesn't show at all. I'm used to doing it from underneath and it seems to work for me. So under here, sometimes a sharper needle, sometimes something to go on the end of your finger, like a protected if somebody got hold of it. And back again. We just keep lacing up like this and do a lock stitch about every 4 stitches. Loop, a spare loop of cord over it like this, and then when I pull tight it will lock it up. A locking stitch. And we just continue all the way down, and I'll carry on the film when we get down to here. Well, I'm about halfway now. Look, you can see I'm tightening up, and it's all nice and neat along here. You can't see any stitches. I'm now down to the last few inches on the tail end. Just drawing up the thread tightly around the last couple of inches of the. This is where I will tie off. This is where the mess was originally, actually, because it had squeezed it all out of here. And at the end then, I want to pull tight. So let's get the stitching tight first, and then we go back through, as in the locking stitch, and just do a couple of last stitches at this end. Now, there's all sorts of things you can do to fluff them up. Get a hairdryer onto this, but first of all I just want to get that stitching, that fur right along the tummy there. Padding's in the right place on the leg. Now it's his position is the next thing. That's how on earth we're going to set this onto. Where are the eyes in there? Just here. This is the next decision as to how we want our squirrel on here. Whether he's facing this way or this way or this way. Looking back at us maybe. turn his head this way if we want to. Could be standing here with his feet on now, like that. We could be coming downwards and looking up to one side, like this. That's what we've got to decide next. I think maybe at this sort of angle could be quite nice. With him looking up this way, so I'm putting his head back up again. So I need to drill in. I've got to drill these holes in just the right places. Hope the wood doesn't break as we're doing it. Just got to come right at that angle slightly and through there. There we go. That foot under there. The body twist just slightly as it comes around there. Pull that through and bend it back. Be quite firm with it to get it right. Get in there gradually. Well, here's our basic pose for the squirrel. Now I've got to do the mask, which means I've got to use the pins to actually set everything into place here, and then put a little bit of card into the ear just to hold them steady. Using pins, I've got to make sure that everything is held exactly in place just where the eyes are and so on. Well, I think that's almost as I want to get it. You can see how I've pinned the eyes and the mask up now. You can see the eyes actually there, looking reasonable. I haven't carded the ears, I'm going to see how they go. Well, there we are for the moment. So I certainly don't think we can add anything more to this mount.